people just missed the beginning of this. Sorry about that. For those of you who are listening, I am talking about Google Places for Business, and you have until February 21st, 2014 to claim it. So you go to Business Places for Business, and it says get started for free. And of course, if I log in and I'll use an account that I know I have some things connected to it, and you'll log in with your Gmail account. And what you'll do is it will try to connect you with whatever it is that you're working on. So it's just a really simple thing. And again, you can search for your business here. And there we are. So here's my business here. And then it's asking for admin rights. And it looks to me like more than likely I have this account connected to a different name, and that's why it's doing this. So all you want to do is go in using your Gmail account, claim it, and it will get you through these different steps. So that's the first thing that I want you to know about, is to go in and sign in and get your business account for your Google Maps. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I want to talk about is related to, don't make an $8,000 mistake or any type of mistake with images. Remember, if it's on the internet, it does not mean that it is free. Okay. You have to be very aware of images. Now, if you are using Facebook or Pinterest or Twitter and you're just sharing photos within that platform, in a share situation, you're normally okay. But when you start to use images in a commercial sense, meaning if you go out and you say, oh, I'd like to use an image on my website, or I want to use an image for my newsletter, then you need to be aware that you need to either go find a free thing, or a free copyright free system, or you will have to pay a small charge to use images. There are many, many places to either find free or low cost images that can be used in a commercial sense. That's your key, is if you're making videos or newsletters or anything like that, you want to be sure that the images you use, that you have the rights to use them. The same goes for music. You cannot use your favorite song as a music bed for your video. You have to go find music that you can buy the rights to, either the royalty rights to use it, or generic music where they're giving you the rights to use it. Even on video sites such as Animoto, I have gotten copyright infringement notices on YouTube, even though I paid to use the professional use of that. And I've had to get Animoto to give me a letter that I sent to YouTube so that they would remove that, because you can get your accounts shut down if you have violations for copyright infringement. So again, what you need to know is, just because it's on the internet does not mean that you can go and use images. And what I wanted to show you is that it's really easy to find stock photos. Again, you can just go look online, look for stock photos, and iStock Photos is a place where you can buy images, and you always want to read the agreement on the use. Sometimes they will give you very specific use rights. Now, for example, Big Stock Photo, they have a free trial where you can download 5 free images a day. You want to, if you do that, you can read the directions on how long do you have the right to use this, how can you use this. Some say you can have unlimited rights to use it on your website, you can use it in video, you can use it in newsletters, but you always want to read the agreement about how you can use it. For example, Big Stock Photo has some really nice images. iStock Photo, sometimes they'll give you free images and they'll say you can use this free of charge if you give credit. So there's always some caveats about how you are going to be using images. I have used iStock Photo. Dreamstime has some nice photos. Getty Images. A lot of people Getty Images typically are expensive. Big Stock Photo I've used. You can also go and find photos that have what are called a Creative Commons license. And what that is they may be photos taken by different people and they give permission to use them. And there are different licensing. For example, if you go to creativecommons.org, you can look at the public domain. What is public domain? Public domain means that they are images, music, or content that is available for use by the public because, for example, if there was a copyright on it, maybe that copyright expired, or it is very, very old, or it was done. For example, in the United States, for example, we have a lot of images, for example, NASA images or different things that were paid for with the taxpayer dollar. So they are available through the public domain for use. But even those, sometimes you need to find out if they're usable in a commercial sense. So always, whenever you're using images or music or prose, words, text, you always want to be sure where it's coming from. Here they're showing you different licenses. For example, whenever you see a CC and different things like this, they're saying how you can use it, and it's like, can you use this work in an adaptation, or can you use this work in commercial? So you would always be looking for commercial uses if you are using it for business. So here this says new to Creative Commons, and you can go through this and learn all about the types of material that they have. And again, if you look here, all of this fine print here. So it's always wise to look and read the fine print. And if you're ever in doubt, I would seek the advice of an attorney who specializes in this if you ever are really, really in doubt. But typically, if you read the directions and you want to know exactly how to use it, that this is a good place to go. And here are their Creative Commons tools, and they show you how to do everything right here on the site. For images, they have case studies, they have videos, they have a lot of information right here. So that is an example of how to use Creative Commons. Again, you want to always know exactly what you're using and to understand all about the copyright, and you don't want to get into trouble because, again, don't think, hey, it's on the internet, so therefore it's free game. It is not. And something that you're probably going to see more and more of is more and more people with copyright notices. And again, understand that copyright, there are certain things that you can copyright and things that you can't copyright, but that's a whole nother issue. But the best thing to do is when you're looking for images, go to a reputable site, and then often you can buy images for 21 cents, a dollar, $5. It really depends. And then there are subscription services. I actually belong to some subscription services, for example, that cost $50 a year, and you can have unlimited images for use for your projects. So if you're interested in that, ask me and I'll send you a list of free sites. And I believe I actually have a video about how to find copyright free or royalty free images in one of my websites, and I'm not sure if I posted it into the class site or not, but I have made a video about finding copyright free images. So that was in the news today, and I thought that was something that would be very, very important to talk about what you need to know now. So again, make sure you go out and you claim that Google Places listing before February 21st, 2014. And then, of course, when you're looking for images or music, always know what the rules are. And I can guarantee you, you cannot use, your favorite Michael Jackson song as the music bed to your video without paying heavy duty royalties. So you really want to pay attention to that. Now, I want to talk about things that you need to do now that are hot and important to grow your business. I know that many of you are working in a marketing director capacity or in the marketing department. I know some of you are business owners, and then I know some of you are students, I guess is a good way to put it, people who are wanting to do social media marketing for others. So we have kind of a diverse class, but what is important to know is what is hot now. Number one, mobile marketing. Everything has to be toned down into fit into a mobile device or be able to be read and consumed on a small device such as an iPhone or going up to tablet size. And again, this is not only iPhones or Androids or other mobile devices. If you're using a flip phone, you need to graduate up into a smartphone device. I've been traveling and I was watching people on the airplane and in the airport, and there's still a lot of people who have their little flip phones, but then you see tons of people with their iPhones, iPads, tablets. Of course, I'm talking about iPhone, which is a Apple product, and then you have Android, which is a PC or smartphone device. Or so you have to think about that. Everything needs to be consumable in a smartphone, tablet, or small device, as well as on the big screen or PC. Most content, more than 50% of all content now is being consumed in a mobile format. Okay, so keep that in mind. People are consuming information in a mobile format. So the first thing I want to talk about is video. These are just, I'm using my stuff as an example because I can show it to you easier than I can show you other people's stuff. So I have several channels of different things, and these aren't even all of my channels. But what I am doing, as well as all of the major players, when I say major players, I'm talking about huge companies, let's say big companies, Starbucks, television shows, um, multi-billion dollar companies, all the way down to manufacturing companies, attorneys, educational institutions. Video If you are not using video to help market your business, you are going to get left behind. It's plain and simple. The video explosion is all part of the fact that people have very short attention spans. They still will read short things, but again, it's all about consuming information, and people are so impatient, they want it now. If you can impart information in 30 seconds, a minute, 2 minutes, you are going to be able to capture the attention of real people and also virtual people. Think about Google, the largest search engine in the universe, the planet, followed by YouTube. Number two, search engine. Search engine means people go in and type in things such as, how to find something. As you see right there, when I typed in how to find diamond in Minecraft. Okay, so that's telling you that right here, Minecraft, which must be a video game, is huge. People are trying to find out how to find that. There could be uh, a different, for business, I know, how to tie a scarf is okay. Look at that. How to tie a scarf for women around your neck, for men, your head. Think about all of that. If you were in the scarf business, there you go. You could make videos about that and dominate. Um, let's see, how to change an okay, how to change an air filter in your car, how to change an air conditioner filter. Right there, those are what are called suggested search, and that is YouTube telling us this is what real people are typing into the search engine. So let's say you're an air conditioning company. If you make a video how to change an air conditioner filter and you have that properly optimized for your area, guess what? You're going to get people who are looking for that information. You can tell them how to do it, but more often than not, they're probably going to say, heck, I think I need to call you, and you are the expert in their eyes. This is a really early video I did, which is I did these are actual, like, what does the word viral mean? They're like, I called it social media glossary. Here's some interviews I just did recently, right before I went on my television tour, because it happened that one of the program segments that I was doing was called Can You Pin Your Way to Love Using Instagram and Facebook? So what I did is I interviewed someone who had actually found love on Facebook as a giveaway, so that when people who were listening on TV, they could be directed to this little video, these two videos about how to find love on Facebook. And then here's some other videos, like here's some video marketing for some dentists that I did. And I haven't really done much with these, but these are just a selection. And over time, um, if you see, it says page two of about 686 results for my name. Okay, so what am I doing? Why am I producing all these videos for all these? I am growing my online footprint, and it's just the more I have out there, and again, I have a large variety of different things, because now I've been doing this for 3.5 or 4 years. I mean, you can see early stuff. I mean, some of my early stuff is downright, embarrassing, because but it does show a progression over time, and it shows that I've been out there. I've been doing this for a while. And for you, um, it's important that you start to see that video is a way for you to grow your online footprint in many different ways. And again, you can use video not only as for your company, but to grow your online footprint, because Google picks up video and will rank it at the top of the search engines very, very quickly. So the message that I want you to take away from today is I need to add video marketing into my marketing plan. For example, attorneys, whatever it is that your attorney, the type of clients that you're looking for. Let's say that you are um, a DUI attorney. So you would want to make videos about what do I do if I get a DUI? Because there are many people who get DUIs, and you could answer all those questions. What do I do if I get arrested? I have one video, let's see, it was about immigration um, here. So somewhere in here, let's see, I'm not seeing it come up here. But if you saw back there where when I typed in immigration, notice here immigration interview Pangalo. Normally the Pangalo comes up and you can see it, but oh, here it is. That's one of his, but there's actually an interview that has like probably by now. Um, oh, here it is. The naturalization interview. It has um, 3,008, almost a half a million hits. It's almost up to 400,000. And that was, and then look at all these comments, and a lot of those are in different languages because they're trying to understand um, everything here, and it's just about the naturalization interview. But that one's gotten a lot of hits. But for an individual company or business, um, it's really important that you look at video as part of your marketing plan. And when I was gone in the last 2 weeks, I was out in San Diego at a big internet marketing conference where I spoke. And when the question was asked, what would you suggest to your clients what they would need to do of all of the online marketing that you can do? Every single person said video. And I always pay attention to that because ever since 2010, that's the message. Every time I go out into the real world or into the big world, we live in our little virtual world, but when I go into the real world where real people are interacting, I always get the same thing from all of these social media experts, these people that are in the trenches day to day helping local businesses, everybody, video. So that's the takeaway message. Another thing that is huge as you grow your online footprint. And I think we even have a podcast expert in our group taking the class is podcasts. Podcasting, it's a very interesting thing because podcasting has been around for a long, long time, but it used to be hard. It used to be a difficult process. I mean, somebody showed a mind map and it showed maybe 50 steps that you had to go through to create a podcast. Well, with technology today, what do you need to create a podcast? You basically need some type of a device. It could be your telephone, it could be your computer. You need a microphone and a recording device, and that could be a Skype, it could be your telephone, whatever. You can record it, you can even do it with video with Google Hangouts, but you can create podcasts and then use the power of Apple, iTunes, and Skitcher and other podcasting directories to grow this massive audience. And you can get onto iTunes, and your podcast can either be free or paid. But the beauty of it is that, think about Apple. Apple is the giant among giants, and Apple with iTunes has millions, millions of people with their credit cards on file for one-click access, and or one-click download and subscriptions. And they also have push notifications so people can subscribe to your podcast. How powerful do you think it is to have a podcast that people subscribe to, and while they're driving to work or going about their daily routine, let's say they're exercising, and they can listen to you? And how powerful do you think it would be if you had a podcast about whatever it is that your business is about? Let's say that if you are somebody who is an attorney, you could have a podcast about whatever your expertise is, and that can be you talking, or you can bring in all these interviewees. And let's say it's a half an hour. Your podcast could be daily, it could be once a week, as long as you're consistent. In the research that I have done, the biggest fail that I have noticed is that people don't have a podcast long enough to even know if it could have been successful. They'll do, I went in and I'll see podcasts, back from 2006, 2007, or even last year, where you can see that they said they did these podcasts and maybe they did 12 and then they stopped, or they did 100, then they stopped. Well, like anything, you have to just keep going and doing that and figuring out how to monetize it beyond the traditional ways. Podcasting can be very profitable. Entrepreneur on Fire is probably one of the best examples of how someone took a podcast. I think it's been 18 months ago, maybe 2 years. John Lee Dumas took a podcast, went from, I think, weekly to 5 days a week to daily, half an hour podcast, and within 6 months turned it into getting sponsors. And he also has affiliates that are paying, that he's making money off of what he's suggesting. So there are ways to use these tools that can help generate funds so they become self paying, so that you're not spending a lot of money to get the word out. And I know for some of you, it may or may not be a good method, but for many of you, it could be a way, again, where, why am I teaching you about social media marketing? I'm teaching you this because you need to know this stuff in order to have your business get found online. So podcasting could be a way to do that. Another thing that is huge, and we're talking again, how do you create a unique selling proposition for yourself? How do you rise up above all of the noise and everybody else who's out there doing what you're doing? I'm going to talk more about this in tomorrow's webinar, about how I am making myself rise above every other social media person out there. We live in a world where we can we can become whoever we want to be. And some people just go out and announce to the world who they are, and other people actually have academic expertise or uh, a background that lends a lot more credibility to things when they say it. So I'm going to talk a lot about that tomorrow, about how do you create your own unique selling proposition. So with that, I want to move on. Okay, I've talked to you about your Google Places. I've talked to you about how not to get in trouble with your images and music. I've talked to you now about podcasting, and I'll be sharing more about podcasting in the future, because I have a couple podcasts, or actually about three in the works, some that I'm creating and some that I'm working with other people on. Um, the other thing I want to talk about is Amazon. Again, we are talking about we live in a time where we have the most power as people in a global sense. There has never, ever been a time when individuals have had more power and been able to become authors, become publishers, become whoever we want to be because of technology. So, again, you can write books now, and you do not need to worry about whether or not you're going to get picked up by a huge publisher. Huge publishers are now looking at self published authors to find the next person they're going to work with. Uh, There are authors who are now multi million dollar authors who were discovered because they self published. And again, in the marketing world, we're not talking about writing books to be the next, not the next great American author. We are talking about writing books to use as marketing tools that become the ultimate business card. We're talking about how in the world do I position myself, my company in the world to be bigger than life so that I become the go to company, the go to person out there. So I'm going to use Christina Blazin as an example. Christina happens to be my daughter, but she's also a good example of someone who is rising up as a book publishing expert because not only has she written her own books, she's published her own books, and she is marketing her own books so that she can help other people do it too. But for example, here's a book I wrote in, it says 2013, but this is just when we put it up as Kindle. But I'm actually changing this. I looked at my content of this book, and my content is decent. My content is still relevant. My cover sucks because here's the title, okay? But I mean, the photo and everything kind of shows what it is, but I'm actually going to rename this book. But this is the content, and the reason I wanted to point this out to you is because when I actually looked at my chapters, I was like, "Hey, that's pretty cool." Back when I wrote this in 2011, I was saying 5 things you need to know now. Okay, social media marketing, internet marketing, search engine optimization, mobile marketing, video marketing. Okay, that was in 2011. This is 2014. What is thrilling to me is the fact that those things are still relevant today, even more so than they were in 2011. Here, tips, tricks, and tools for building your business. Video production. What did I just tell you is the hottest thing ever? Websites, blogs, social media, webinars, teleseminars. And then, of course, I also included in my book the mindset stuff about taking action, because this stuff is so overwhelming that you have to have a good mindset to keep up on it. And I think that is why it's so important. And that's why I'm talking about this today, because what you want to also consider is writing a book about whatever it is that you're an expert in. I know that, for example, Jennifer Huber is a she is solo travel girl, and she travels solo. Now, think about the power of that. And she's actually started doing some Google Hangouts, and one that was very intriguing that I saw that she had the other day, and I missed it, but it was I'm having a Google Hangout to watch the sunset. Now, she is the tourism, and I may be absolutely, I'm off on her title, but she is Charlotte County tourism person. Think about the power of a Google Hangout to watch the sunset, and how she could take that and draw people from all over the world to Charlotte County. That is powerful. Think about in terms of using Amazon, using Google, using YouTube to connect whatever it is to you through these mechanisms. And it's actually the term that it's called multicasting. Think about what you can do. We live in a world where you can literally be everywhere now. You can be sending information out via social media, your Facebook, your Pinterest, video, your live. It's like Google Hangouts is equivalent to having a live television show. You can then translate everything into transcripts and make them into books and publish these things. You can publish your video and audio via iTunes to the iBook store through Amazon. Think about the power of creating an EPUB. Think about your Kindle as if it were a living, breathing website. Your Kindle book, you can incorporate video into a Kindle. You can incorporate links to websites into a Kindle. You can have images, you can have videos. Think about the power of having interactive books that people can either download and buy or download for free. Think about the power of 99-cent books or $2 books or the free book. Kindle KDP has the opportunity that you could create books and people could download them free of charge, yet the book itself is a marketing tool leading back to wherever you choose to lead the people to. You lead them to an opt-in web page so that you can grow your list. That is something that's also very important. You need to be growing your list. For example, when I was out in Hollywood, I went to the Arsenio Hall show, for example. Well, later, I actually met someone who worked for Arsenio Hall, and I was talking to them about how great it was to go to Arsenio Hall because I'd always been a fan since the 90s, and of course I always saw Arsenio Hall as a in a historical sense, as a social or a mass communications professor. I always look at things kind of like, whoa, look at what he did back in the 90s to move things forward. And don't get me wrong. I mean, he definitely is catering to a demographic of a Black audience, but even so, here I am, this middle-aged white woman who loves Arsenio Hall. And when I went, I was like dancing with everybody, and it was pretty cool. But you want to know what Arsenio Hall's biggest fear is? Getting canceled. And Arsenio Hall needs to be using the power of his presence today online to get people to follow him, his show, but he needs to have an exit strategy. So, all of you, in terms of marketing, think about growing your business. What is your strategy for interacting with these people and getting them to know, like, and trust you? But you have to get them off of social media, off of YouTube, out of Amazon into your personal list funnel so that you can have conversations with them so that they become your client, your customer, not just a one-off. Oh yeah, they bought my book and then that's the end of it. No, you want them to buy your book and then follow you on to whatever it is that your message might be. And again, it's not about making money off of books. It's about creating a book, leveraging it so that you become the go-to person in your business or industry. It's what the book can do for you, not about making 99 cents on a book. Sure, you're going to make little, I think I made 50 bucks last year off of some of my stuff, but that isn't what the book does for you. The book will get you speaking engagements. The book will get you in front of big people, just like a blog. A blog can be extremely powerful. It will get you in front of your target audience and help people to see that you are the unique person you are. And that's what, again, the big message in today's webinar is about. How do you become the leader in whatever your business is? You have to rise up and provide high quality information, relevant information, and original information. And how do you do that? You do that by making original videos. You do that by creating original content. And it does not have to be anything that you sit down and have to write like a book. You can transcribe your videos into a book. You can record short interviews. You can do so many things that can help you to stand out. And that's the big message today. We've got about 10 minutes left. And what I want to do is I want to double check to see if anybody has any questions. Let's see, Blanche. Um, it says, so if I Google my business and it comes up with a Google map, we have Google Places for Business. Blanche, yes. And what you'll want to do with that is claim it. And there should be a little button that says claim this business. So look for that. And you'll want to claim that. Melissa, are there any resources you can suggest for these types of images for commercial use? Yes. When I was on the line there, I think I was showing you places like iStock Photo, Getty Images, Big Photos. Write me an email and I'll send you a link to where there are free resources that you can use. And again, like I said, always look at the fine print to make sure that there are no limitations on how you could use the images. But everyone who's interested, just write me an email to tammysocialmedia@gmail, and I will definitely send you a link to that one video plus a bunch of my personal resources. Um, Okay, who said that? Nikki. Nikki, good. Nikki's saying that she's definitely interested in copyright free images. And again, um, just be sure, again, sometimes you might see images that are done by, let's say, the local newspaper photographers and things. No, those are copyrighted images also. Anything that has been published, generally, that means it's copyrighted by whoever published it. And then once they show it, it reverts back to the original photographer. And um, it's a lot of times if you contact the photographer, they may say, sure, you can use my photo, just make sure you give me credit. And then other ones will say, yeah, you can use my photo, but I want to be paid. But a lot of times you can use great images as long as you give credit. Let's see, Josh. Are there any types of businesses that a podcast would not be beneficial? Josh, you know what? I think that almost any type of business could use a podcast. It would be about how you presented the information. So that's something that I would brainstorm about it, because think about it. A podcast can be anything from somebody playing music to people doing interviews, to people spouting whatever their belief systems are. What you want to do to get started is obviously you want to have you want to be passionate about whatever your topic is, or at least two things ways to go about a podcast, and there's probably more, but if I were to look at it, I would say either you need to be passionate about the topic, or you will be the reporter interviewer, and it doesn't matter what the topic is. I actually did an experiment last year when the let's see, it was about genealogy, and I was interested in genealogy, and the big census came out. So my experiment was, I wonder if I could interview big name people about the fact that the new census was released, from 50 years ago. Well, I went out and I found some big names related to genealogy. Guess what? I said I've got a show called Ask Tammy, which I did. I do have a show called Ask Tammy, and I interviewed, and I can't remember her name, but she was the creator of that TV show. Who do you think you are? I interviewed her, and then I interviewed a guy who has developed this. He's the number one person for genealogy software, and I interviewed a guy in who represented the LDS Church, because the LDS Church has got one of the largest genealogy collections in the United States. So guess what? I was able to talk to big name people because I said, I have a show about genealogy. Would you be interested in talking about it as it relates to the release of the new census? So, what is the big message there? If you have a hook in about your show or an audience, guess what? You've probably got gold. Jennifer, PR manager. That Jennifer is the a PR manager for the tourism. I always think of Jennifer as tourism Charlotte County. Whenever I think about where I live in Inglewood. I've got Boca Grande, Inglewood, Charlotte County. So I look at it as the power triad because we live in this beautiful location. So I always kind of look at it that way. And we've got 4 more minutes. Do you have any questions that you would like me to answer related to anything that we're talking about? Again, this I did get this. I started recording it, after I talked about the one thing. Let me see. Oh, this came up today. Somebody said, "Does anybody know about this?" It's CYFE all-in-one dashboard, and this is a new system. Social media analytics, marketing, sales support, infrastructure, monitor everything. I just discovered this today, so I really don't know anything about it, but this is kind of cool. These are all of the connections. Here's FreshBooks, LinkedIn, Pinterest. Um, these are just the different things here. Okay, 40,000 plus satisfied users. Okay, 40,000 is not huge, but I would say that this would be worth looking into just to find out about it, because this is what every social media person is always looking for. Social media, analytics, marketing, sales, support, infrastructure, monitoring everything. Notice they're showing your mobile phone. Uh, so it certainly is worth looking into, at least the free version. And again, I just saw this come up today, and this is hot new information that I wanted to share. So they're saying here, full PDF exports, TV mode, responsive dashboards, uh, custom cohorts, Google Analytics. here's how to use, they have a lot of good information. So I just happened to see this right before the show started today. The show, you can tell that I've been running around before the show started. But right before the webinar started today, Darren, when I Google my business, should a map pinpointing my business show up in the search results? Well, Darren, it would, yes and no. If you should have a map listing, if you are not showing up, definitely go claim it and put in all of your information so that you do. Again, they're phasing out the Google Maps places for business. However, that does not mean that it is disappearing. It just means they're using it in a different way. As you know, you definitely want to fill out your Google Plus profile, both your personal and your pages, and use Google Plus. You cannot mess with the big Google. You have to play the game in all of this. What does that mean? That means even though Facebook may or may not be where you hang out, are your potential clients and customers hanging out there? You go where your people are. You go where your potential clients are. If your potential clients are professionals, you want to go hang out at LinkedIn. If your potential clients are women 35 to 65, you want to use uh, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram. If your demographic are younger people, you go where younger people are hanging out. Younger people might not be on Facebook anymore, but they're using Instagram. They use Twitter. You have to know enough about who your potential clients or customers are to go where they hang out. How do you find that out? You go and look, you do research, you study, get advice from people like me who will say, okay, well, let's take a look at who is your market. For example, I have a podcast, Crazy Cat Lady podcast. I'm going to do that because it's fun. But have you ever looked at Facebook and that grumpy cat page with like 3 million people? What does that tell you? There's a potential market for a podcast about crazy cat people or crazy cat lady. And when you narrow down your avatar to who is that one person that you're developing your podcast for or your business message for, guess what? You're going to weed out all the people it's not for, and you're going to weed in all the people it is for, and they will become raving maniac fiendish fools for you. Like Jennifer and her solo travel girl, who is she targeting? She's traveling. I don't know the demographic of the age, but I know that she's targeting women who are people that want to travel. And she's not saying travel alone. I mean, that's scary. Solo, meaning you can still have fun traveling solo and interacting with people, but you're never going to be alone. Who wants to be alone? Nobody. But traveling solo, think about it. If we don't take that step out into the world where we don't have a buddy, we would never do anything. But it doesn't sound a lot more fun to say, hey, we're traveling solo, and then you get to meet all these cool people and go to cool places. Um, so that's just how you want to look at all this. But again, definitely go to claim that Google Places by February 21st, 2014. You've got about 2 weeks left to do it. Definitely go check out your profiles. And again, for those of you who are worried, like, oh, I haven't done this or that, just do what works for you. Do what works for you. Develop the platforms that are going to be working for you and your company. And find the people, go to where your people are who you want to attract, and develop your message, your content for those people. Again, tomorrow I'm going to be talking in the webinar about engagement and about what I discovered when I started to post certain things about how my engagement skyrocketed and how I got people who were just waiting for my next post. And I'll talk about that tomorrow at 2 o'clock, and I will record it. So watch for that. Okay, we're over by about 4 minutes, so I'm going to let you go. Let me check to see if there's any more. I think I've got all the questions according to my little box here. Um, so if you have any other questions, quickly type them in, but I'll let you go now, and I will be posting the recording as soon as it processes uh, by this evening, and I'll put it both in Facebook and also in our FGCU blog site. So I'll talk to you soon, and I hope you got some value out of today's webinar. Thank you. Bye.